I am firmly convinced that we must now work together to set international policies and standards and to build an international framework for cybersecurity and cyber peace. As a specialized agency, ITU provides a global forum for discussing cybersecurity and has been entrusted by world leaders to facilitate international dialogue and cooperation.
The front line in the war against a new category of crime. We take a look behind the scenes at ITU Impact, giving developing countries the expertise to fight cybercrime. The internet's like a city, where 2 billion people rub up against one another 24 hours a day for work, for commerce, for leisure, or just to meet. This is not just the city that never sleeps, but rarely gives up its secrets. In a real city, like here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, we know where it's safe or unsafe to go. Our instincts are tuned to the dangers, but on the internet, the danger signals are harder to read.
Your experience, give us an example of a cyber threat.
At the headquarters for ITU Impact in Kuala Lumpur, these experts are running through the sort of threats they encounter every day.
DDoS attack is a distributed denial of services.
Distributed denial of service, phishing, viruses, trojans, malware, characters in a cyber drama that is changing the face of crime and law enforcement.
Corporate espionage basically is spying. You're stealing information from your competitor.
And this is where the drama is played out. ITU Impact's Global Response Centre is the foremost such facility for the global community. It tracks upwards of 100,000 new cyber threats a week as they emerge. New threats are first identified by ITU Impact's private sector partners, and the warning goes out on the network early warning system. Member countries can also submit malware samples, then ITU Impact analyses them and identifies the potential harm.
It's a fairly expensive setup for individual countries to set up, and what we are trying to do is that this facility allows them to submit the sample and we do the analysis for them. If we find a sample which has not been discovered in the wild, we can then take the sample and then submit it back to the industry players, and hopefully the collective voice of the ITU Impact member states, the response can be faster.
The Global Response Centre also includes Escape, a platform bringing together governments, industry, international organisations, academia and cybersecurity professionals to discuss the latest cyber threats and, most importantly, collaborate during cyber attacks.
What we are trying to encourage out here is for countries to nominate people from, whether it's law enforcement, whether it's their ISPs, their trusted cybersecurity experts, into one single platform. So you not only have a contact database of people who can be reached in terms of a crisis, but also trying to encourage them to work with each other on collaborative projects so that in case there are issues which come up in the future, they can be resolved.
There are a range of issues which need to be urgently addressed within the principles of international cooperation. First, the lack of expertise or experience to deal with some of the critical issues, including cybersecurity, which arise from the use of ICT. Second, the lack of resources to develop their own response systems against cyber attacks. Third, the lack of cooperation at national level, which is required to elaborate a national strategy. And fourth, the lack of legal framework that would enable persecution of cybercrime. In this regard, ITU Impact is the first truly global multi-stakeholder and public-private alliance against cyber threats.
And this is one of ITU Impact's greatest strengths, the contacts it's cultivated with the cybersecurity industry. Companies like Symantec, Trend Micro, Kaspersky and F-Secure. And here at F-Secure's Malaysian headquarters, they know that if the cybersecurity sector has boomed in recent years, it's because the threat from cybercrime has multiplied dramatically. It's now an industrial-scale menace in the hands of organised crime.
Recently, we have seen more and more targeted attacks. They are targeted to one specific customer group or one specific company. The threats also nowadays are not made by the young guys who do it for fun or sitting in their small kid room and making it. It is organizations who are doing it for money. So they are after information, espionage, credit card, bank cards. So it is professional organizations who do it for money.
This lead-lined cage is F-Secure's facility for putting suspect phones into electromagnetic quarantine.
Where we analyze malware on mobile devices.
Cybercriminals can net millions in a few weeks from malware that programs phones to repeatedly call expensive premium numbers.
And this room is totally radio shielded, nothing coming in, nothing coming out.
Construction is still underway on the internet. When it was first designed, the emphasis was on ease of communication, making the journey fast and smooth, getting people together rather than keeping people out. In Manila, in the Philippines, Trend Micro, another ITU Impact partner, employs more than 1,000 experts to keep criminals locked out from their customers' networks.
Thank you for calling Trend Micro Consumer Support.
Your email address. Can I have that, please? Okay.
Do you see anything that says Service Pack 1?
They recently worked with the FBI to successfully tackle a cyber ring that infected 4 million computers across 100 countries and netted its leaders some $14 million.
One of the main problems with regarding this operation is that the cybercrime encompasses different countries. These different countries have different laws, different jurisdictions, and it's difficult to establish international cooperation between countries.
There are no superpowers in cyberspace. Living in harmony is central to the UN's mission. And in a connected world, we are as strong as our weakest link. We can only achieve global solutions through a global framework that promotes, for example, the secure sharing of information and expertise, more effective early warning systems to mitigate cyber threats, and developing effective cyber resilience across society. This is why ITU Impact has been established, and in just 4 years has received wide consensus with 140 countries formally committed to be part of this global effort. ITU Impact is the first truly global multi-stakeholder and public-private alliance against cyber threats. Global challenges require global solutions.
International cooperation, like the recent cyber drill held in Myanmar, is what the ITU's cybersecurity agenda and impact are all about. Known as ALERT, Applied Learning for Emergency Response Teams, cyber drills increase cooperation between those from different countries fighting cybercrime. In this case, response teams from Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar and Vietnam were tested with threats such as spam, malware and attacks on websites.
We wanted to see mainly how they would address this kind of problems and also to help them to build the capacity on looking at this kind of attacks so that they will know how to address this kind of attacks when it happens at a bigger scale.
And what happens if we do not address this issue is that you will find some of these countries becoming pockets of safe havens for cyber criminals. And that will, in the end, undermine the whole global community. So that is why at ITU Impact, we have always stressed that it is in everyone's interest to make sure that those that need help are helped.
One big thing that they're asking for right now is help us build more cybersecurity professionals within their own country.
The internet might be virtual, but cyber threats are real. It's almost impossible to think of an area of our lives, of business, of government that doesn't have a vital online component, which makes the work of ITU Impact crucial.
ITU Impact is the first truly global multi-stakeholder and public-private alliance against cyber threats. Global challenges require global solutions.
Nowhere else is there such a concentration of hardware and know-how. ITU Impact is the centre of a unique network, including the private sector, academia and international organisations. It is making a fundamental difference, giving developing countries the tools and training to meet the emerging cyber threat head on.